Juan Mendez Scott's The Guest Room. Chapter 5. Some heavy bloodshed. "If he comes over here starting something with her, I'm blowing his brains out," Preston said, and he wasn't joking. "And I don't need you in jail right now," I said, slipping into my nightgown. "I'm just protecting us and the house, baby." I still loved our house, although I was terrified that the next landslide toward Piscataway Creek would claim it. I just hated the tiny rooms. A lot of older homes have those tiny rooms, especially the master bedroom and bathroom. I must have stubbed my toes a million times just getting out of bed and going to the bathroom. Those rooms were just too small and tight. Preston was lying across the bed, relaxing, a few beers in him, watching a basketball game on TV. Now in my nightgown, I got into bed. I was wearing warm vanilla body splash for Preston. I doused myself with it after a relaxing bath. He loved my warm vanilla body splash, just like Liana did. But that night, he didn't seem interested. And to be honest, Preston didn't seem comfortable about Liana living with us either. I could tell by the expression on his tight face. But I was standing by my best friend. I had to. The thought of Phil showing up at our house starting something with Liana petrified me. Preston blowing Phil's brains out petrified me even more. Snuggling up with my husband, I said, "You think Phil'll come over here looking for her?" "He can come over here if he wants to," Preston said, not taking his eyes off the game. "I got something for his ass if he does. I'm pretty sure one of us'll call the police if Phil tries to start something. The police may not get here on time though. They don't always anyway." "I know. That simple-looking ass fool. By the time the police get here, Phil will have shot up the house and everybody in it." My nerves got so bad I had to sit up. Preston noticed, peeping over at me. "Doris, are you sure this is a good idea for her to stay here? I mean, Liana, she's all right. But I don't want her here if you're going to worry yourself to death about this." "Preston, I don't want Phil bothering Liana anymore. And I don't want him putting his hands on her again either. Doris, you can't watch Liana 24/7. If he's after her like that, eventually he's going to find her. I want her to stay here until she finds her own place. She's thinking of looking for something in Waldorf. His sorry, lazy ass won't find her down there. That's for sure." That was about the second time Preston mentioned something about Phil being lazy. How would he know something like that? He might not have liked Phil, but he was never around Phil enough to know anything about him. Liana had mentioned to me a couple of times about Phil having trouble finding a job. Maybe Preston overheard some of those conversations. "I wonder if he was serious about what he said he was going to do to her," I said. "What? About killing her?" "Yeah. Who knows? He's probably too lazy to even try to kill anybody. But I take all death threats seriously. There he goes again with Phil being lazy." I looked over at the top dresser drawer where Preston's 9mm rested, waiting for some action. I kept picturing Phil's head splattering all over my front lawn after Preston shot him. Those pictures flashing in and out of my head were starting to make me sick to my stomach. "You still keep your gun in the top drawer over there, right?" I asked. Preston looked over at the drawer, then back at me. "Yeah." "Why?" "Just in case you're not here and Phil shows up to kill Liana." Preston flashed a rare smile, shaking his head. "What? Why are you smiling?" "You're not going to do anything with that gun," Preston said, still smiling. "If Phil comes over here starting something with Liana and you're not here, yes, I will use your gun." "You're too scared, Doris." "No, I'm not. When I tried to teach you how to use the gun, you wouldn't even touch it." "Scared?" "Yeah, well, I'm not scared anymore." Preston gave me a dry look. "Would you kill him?" I sat there and gave it a hard thought. I tried to picture myself blowing Phil's head into pieces, with chunks of his skull and brains all over my lawn and driveway. I tried to imagine what the adrenaline from all that power would feel like. I wanted to smile thinking about it, but it just brought more nausea to my stomach. I don't know if I'd want to kill him though, I shrugged. Preston threw his hands up. See? Told you. What? You're too scared to use a gun. I'd use it if I had to. So, would you kill him? If you had to. I wouldn't want to kill him. Maybe shoot him in the leg or something, but I wouldn't want to kill him. Just injure him enough for the police to come and take his ass away? Right. Preston shook his head, sipping on his beer. My husband was starting to scare me. He was making me think he was dying to kill philosophy. For whatever reason, I didn't know. I understood his point of wanting to protect me and our home, but I didn't need him killing anybody to prove it. He shows up at this house, I'm taking his ass out, he said. Preston, please stop talking like that. Preston glared at me, his eyeballs glassy and scary. What do you mean stop talking like that? If that clown shows up over here to cause harm to anybody in my house, I'm blowing his ass right out of my yard and into the street. I looked at Preston. He was acting like he didn't care if he spent the rest of his life in prison for killing philosophy. What was pushing me into a massive panic attack was not knowing what I would do if he went to jail for the rest of his life. Preston, I just don't want you going to jail, baby, that's all. Doris, that's the reason I got that gun. To protect our house if I need to. Especially when we start having kids. I don't want to go to jail. But if somebody tries to cause any harm to us, I'm going to jail if I have to. Seeing how serious Preston was, I started to have doubts about Liana living with us. Because sooner or later, it was going to attract Phil to our house. And there was sure to be some heavy bloodshed. Preston. Yeah. What if Liana is out and about, and Phil finds her and kills her? There's not much we can do about that, Doris. Like I said, we can't be with her 24/7 to protect her.